This is Rocky Snyder. At the tone, leave your name and message and I'll get back to you.
Why don't you get a job, Spicoli?
What for?
You need money.
All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine.
We are into the Summer Surf Series. On this episode of the Rockfit Files, we're going to be talking to three up-and-coming professional surfers, Sean Burns, Ben Coffey, and Autumn Hayes, all surfing under Team O'Neill. I'm Rocky Snyder. Thanks for tuning in to the Rockfit Files, and we are into our second week of the Summer Surf Series. And I thought I would stick around my local breaks and hang out with some of the up-and-coming world's best. On the World Surf League, we've got three of our local riders here that actually ride for O'Neill Wetsuits or Team O'Neill. We've got Ben Coffey, Autumn Hayes, and Sean Burns with me live. I'd like to say in the studio, but I'm the only one here these days. But they're on location somewhere around Santa Cruz. And the sweet thing is we've got some nice energy out there right now before a storm system moves in tomorrow morning. So we're going to make this quick. We're going to only go for an hour because everyone else wants to scramble out there and see if we can't get some more waves today before that small craft advisory kicks in. So let me go around the horn here and introduce Sean Burns. Sean, thanks for being on the show. You with the nice O'Neill cap. Way to present and represent.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, Sean. So tell me first how long you've been surfing.
I've been surfing since I was around 6 years old. But I think I really started getting into it at age 10. So I'm 28 now. So about 18 years I've been surfing like full time, I'd say.
And how long you been riding for O'Neill?
I think this is my sixth or seventh year.
Sixth or seventh year. All right. I feel like I'm on the Brady Bunch introduction here. I'm going to look down at Autumn here. Autumn, tell me about yourself. How long you been surfing, and when did you get sponsored by O'Neill?
I think I first really got into surfing in eighth grade. I think I was 13 or 14, and I'm 20 now, almost 21. So I'd say probably around 6 years I've been really into it. And I've been on O'Neill's for probably 5 years, coming on 5 years.
Holy cow. So you latched on to surfing and you just excelled. So I want to talk a little bit later about your exponential talent level and how you exploded on the scene in such a short amount of time, because that is not very typical when we talk about surfers and where they start getting sponsored. So that's going to be really cool. Down in my left corner, I got Ben Coffey. Ben, of course, for those not familiar with Ben's dad, Ward, he is a master surfboard shaper. I actually have had a couple of his boards, and sad to say I did snap one, but it was meant to be snapped. It was one of those big waves, and it was a big day. And I didn't ride it all the way through. I got captured inside, and that thing just snapped faster than my spine did. So I was really happy about that. But Ben, welcome to the show. And obviously, I want to know if you're going to be following your father's footsteps and being a board shaper, but you're definitely a board rider. How long you've been riding? I imagine probably since before you even put a diaper on, knowing your mom and dad and how they're really involved with kids surfing and the scholastic leads and all that. But when did you start, and when did you get sponsored?
Yeah, I've been kind of in and around the ocean my whole life. Probably started actually surfing, standing up, getting into waves by myself when I was 6 or 7. And then, it all just kind of progressed from there. And I think I got sponsored when I was around 13 or 14, kind of end of middle school, beginning of high school.
Okay, we're not talking Ward Coffee surfboard sponsoring.
No.
We're talking O'Neill, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Luckily have had my dad shaping boards for me my whole life, so super thankful for that.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah, started riding for O'Neill Surf Shop and then progressed on to O'Neill, and it's been epic.
That is fantastic. So, yeah, I want to hear about how epic it's been in terms of your adventures for all three of you, and what it's like to be on tour with the WSL, and anything else you want to share with me. But here's what I want to do first. I want to do a little kind of rapid fire, kind of get to know each other first. And we're going to go one at a time. I've got 10 questions, kind of answer them as quickly as they come to mind. So, Sean, you ready to kick this off? Oh, yeah, you're looking like
ready as I will be.
Perfect. You got that Zen kind of master attitude and relaxed facial expression. I love this. Okay. All right. Ready as going to be. It's not like you have to study for this test. Okay. So we're not back in school. Just give me what you can. Ready?
All right. Yep.
Goofy or regular?
Regular.
Go-to all-around board?
6-1 thruster.
Favorite move on the wave?
Favorite maneuver?
Yeah.
Carve.
Trunks or wetsuit?
Wetsuit.
Free soul surf or contest?
Contest.
Biggest pet peeve with surf etiquette?
It's kind of a lot, but guys that pal around you, I guess.
Number one food for fuel?
Burrito.
Favorite break?
Steamer lane.
Which break did you have the worst wipeout in?
Pipeline.
Surf hero or heroine? Which one's your surf? Yeah, do you have a surf hero or a surf heroine? Somebody you look up to?
Richard Schmidt.
Oh, big wave, man. All right, Richard's a good guy, good friend. All right, Autumn. Yeah, she's got that cool, poised, kind of Zen mistress facial expression too. You guys all have that same facial expression, like, oh man, I just had the best surf session and I am beat, kind of like, whoa. All right, cool. Autumn, ready? Goofy or regular?
Regular.
Go-to all-around board?
5-7 thruster.
Favorite maneuver on the wave?
Carve.
Bikini or wetsuit?
Wetsuit.
Soul surf or contest?
Both.
Oh, yo, you couldn't make up your mind. You had to just go both. All right. Worst break in surf etiquette. What's your biggest pet peeve?
I don't like it when people are like watching you surf but don't paddle over the wave and get in your way.
Maybe they're just so hypnotized by your skills that they're just like deer in the headlights. All right. Number one food for fuel?
Probably like any type of fruit.
Favorite break?
Mitchell's.
Worst wipeout break?
Probably at sunset.
And who's your surf hero or heroine?
I'd say Daryl Flea Brosco.
Ooh, all right, Flea, right on. We'll ask you about that later for sure. All right, Ben, you've gotten the answers already. It's not like you can cheat or anything, and you've been prepared well in advance. Ready? Goofy or regular?
Goofy.
Go-to board all around?
5-11 thruster.
Favorite move on a wave?
High line.
Trunks or wetsuit?
Wetsuit.
Soul surf or contest?
Free surf.
Worst break in surf etiquette?
When my brother takes all the good waves.
Dude, I totally get you.
I do
all
too.
Right. Number one food for fuel?
Hacienda burrito.
Oh, you even named it. Dang, that's good.
Yeah.
What about Surf Taco in San Diego at PB? You guys would go there?
Although Hacienda will kind of lay you out for the day. Like, it's the best ever, but I don't know if you're surfing after. So
not really a power up.
That sounds like diesel, not jetpack.
Yeah.
All right, favorite. What's your favorite break?
The lane.
And what breaks are your worst wipeout?
The secret spot, New Zealand.
Ooh, all right. And who's your surf hero or heroine?
My dad.
Oh, dude, that's sweet, man. That's awesome. I love it. That's cool. Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. You guys, first, one of you just tell me, is it a dream to be surfing in the WSL? Is this where you wanted to go, or is it just kind of happenstance that you're there? And what's it like?
I guess I'll start since I went first with the questions. Speaking for me, I think it's a dream to travel and compete on the WSL. It sure is nice being from Santa Cruz and coming back here and like growing up and surfing all the good waves we have around here. But yeah, I think WSL has a good platform for all of us to, showcase our skills, not just in Santa Cruz, but other places around the world. And I've been having a lot of fun traveling. So I'm definitely realizing how good I had it right now since we're not able to travel. So yeah, I can't wait till it's back up and running and able to compete again.
Where was the last place that you were traveling to before this all came down?
All three of us were actually supposed to go to Barbados for a contest, but I think it got canceled. I think Autumn was leaving.
Yeah, I was about to, my board bags were all zipped up and I was about to leave in like 30 minutes.
Oh, that's really harsh.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So we'll, have you guys been to Barbados before? Or is this your first time?
I've been I think
Autumn's favorite place.
It's my favorite place in the world.
Oh, that's even worse. You got denied. Oh my God. Oh.
I was like in disbelief that happened. I was still planning on going, but all the girls I was going to stay with, they're all like, no, we can't go. And I was like, come on, let's still go. But no one wanted to.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. What about you, Ben? Where were you? What was the last place that you were before a shelter came down?
I was over in Morocco and then France. Sean was actually over in Morocco too. We did a comp over there and it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a pretty cool place. A good way to kind of end the traveling since it had to end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you're back home, and I want to say that we've been having epic surf in these last 11 weeks, but that would be an exaggeration. I think we've had some good waves. I mean, there's been some decent swell. Actually, we had a really nice south, or kind of that weird west swell that came through the lane a few weeks ago. I'm sure you guys probably captured some of that too. That was decent size. How do you guys stay in shape for surfing? Now, back in the day, I'm not going to say my day because I'm not going to date myself, but I'm obviously like 2 years older than most of you. Yeah, combined, right? Not each an individual, but there used to be the drug culture, the 60s and the 70s, and then it became the party and the cocaine of the 80s. But somewhere along the way, and I'm going to attribute it mainly to Kelly Slater and his 11 championships, that people started to take surfing a little bit differently, and they take it a little bit more seriously in terms of competition. It wasn't just the party central, though that can still occur, but most of those guys that are on the top tour, and women for that matter, are very much turning to some proper strength and conditioning, fitness routines and yoga, maybe a vegan or very much like low carb or whatever diets are on vogue now. Like Autumn, what gets you conditioned and in shape aside from surfing, or do you surf to stay in shape?
I was going to the gym a lot before quarantine, but now I've been getting really into mountain biking, and I've been going like a few times a week, and I've been loving that. I've also been hiking a lot. I've been doing everything like outdoors, and if I have to go anywhere, I've been riding my bike everywhere and just trying to stay as active as I can.
So are you finding that you're actually in better shape now than when the hammer slammed you down and locked you out of Barbados?
Probably, yeah. There's just so much time in the day to do so many different things right now.
Yeah, and how cool is it that we're in the Mecca not only for surf but for mountain biking as well too? Yeah. So that's awesome. Ben, what about yourself?
Yeah, I've been trying to eat pretty healthy. We have like a nice garden going, and all the plants are just in full force. Definitely not going to the gym as much anymore. I would say I'm in worse shape than I was, but had a lot of time to surf, and lifeguard season's kind of just started up for me, and we've got a couple weights to pick up in our headquarters. So I've been trying to get back in some gym stuff to keep fit.
So I guess you grew up with the junior guard program and then got into the lifeguarding?
Yeah, exactly. When started junior guards or little guards when I was 6 years old, and then went all the way through it until I was a captain, and then just went straight into lifeguarding. And this will be my 6th summer down there. So yeah, crazy.
No kidding. Now, are you at the Municipal Wharf headquarters there, or are you somewhere else?
Yeah, down there.
All right. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a different summer for sure. Not that you guys are going to be less busy. It's just going to be different for.
It's definitely a different kind of busy, but it's pretty weird right now. So we'll see what happens.
And Shaw, talk about your conditioning a little bit too. And I'm curious that I didn't mention junior guards to either you or Autumn, but I imagine that, being overall water people, I didn't grow up here. I grew up in the Northeast where we spent our summers and did swim lessons and played at the beach every day growing up. And we had actually a little break right there on the coast of New Hampshire. If you guys ever been to Hampton Beach and ever surfed the wall there at North Beach? Okay,
No.
way much. I mean, it's one of the spots in New England, but you don't hear about surf in New England anyway. So, Sean, when are you working out? Do you do the yoga? Are you a Pilates instructor? What are you?
Pilates instructor. That'd be pretty cool.
I could see you leading a couple Pilates classes a week. I'd go.
Or dating or something like that. Yeah.
I've done a couple of Pilates classes and they're pretty intense. I can't even get through them all, so I don't know if I could instruct them. But I do a lot of yoga. I've been using like the app Down Dog, which is kind of cool because you can do it at home. I used to go to the gym to do yoga, but at home I've been doing yoga and then hitting the bike pretty hard. I got the Peloton app, so that's been kind of fun to get motivated to do the bike. And then I think, the best thing that's been going on for all of us is just the waves have been pretty fun. So we've been able to surf a lot, which I think has been pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely has been consistent. I think I'm the only guy in Santa Cruz who's just in the gym all the time. But the cool thing is I don't have to wait for the treadmill and no one's using my stuff and they're not sweating over it. And I can play whatever tunes I want. That's kind of a neat thing. But I'm not surfing nearly as much as you guys. I think I wait till sunset, and when the tempers are flaring up by the end of the day, I get to deal with I would call them the wild dogs out in the lineup. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. You probably don't, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm kind of shortboard and longboard, but I lean more toward progressive longboarding. And I feel like sometimes when we go out there, there's this attitude out there that everyone's a little edgy. And then you see this guy coming in, he's sitting just outside the lineup, but I feel like I have to throw morsels to the pack of wild dogs on the inside just to make sure that they know I'm not going to be taking everything and that I'm not a threat, and then everything kind of settles down. I don't know, are you guys feeling like there's an edginess in some of the lineups in town since this all went down, or is everybody kind of mellow? Autumn, what do you feel?
I feel like at the beginning of quarantine, like a lot of people were posting on social media like anti-surfing and like, oh, if you surf, like blah blah blah, like look how close the Groms are together. They're all like, biking together and stuff like that. And then for a little bit, I felt like I wasn't seeing that like the usual crowd at the lane, and I felt almost bad for surfing, and that's like a lot of the attitude I felt from a lot of people, that I was getting judged for surfing, never stopping, but that's all good.
Yeah, Ben, what about yourself?
Yeah, the tempers have been flaring lately. I think there's been like a lot of people with not much to do, and that means they go surf and it's crowded. So yeah, I've been trying to stay away from like surfing the lane and surfing the crowded places. We've been trying to find kind of random waves that no one ever surfs just to like do something different. And I mean, it's fun. It doesn't have to be the best waves to have fun. So trying to find some little nooks and crannies along the coast to get away from the people and just kind of stay stoked has been the goal.
All right. And every time I talk about surfing to somebody that doesn't surf, they always bring up, like, if you mention that you're from California and they're from Oklahoma, they would say, oh, I never live out there because the earthquakes. I'm like, you get tornadoes so many times. And we get an earthquake like once every 86 years or something. Anytime
I
you
heard there was one yesterday.
yeah, I slept right through it. I had no idea. It was like 3 point
Yeah.
something. I just thought, my wife had just shifted in bed or something. I don't know. But, anytime you talk to somebody like from Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, you tell them you surf, like, oh, I wouldn't go out there because those sharks out there. I guess what I want to bring up is like paddleboarding, long distance prone or stand up. It's been a fantastic way for conditioning. Do you guys find long distance paddling has been really good for not your endurance and contest so much? It's just paddle techniques, or do any of you three do prone paddling?
I used to a lot when I was doing junior guards, and I don't really know if it would help my surfing. Probably my surfing helped my paddling a bit more, since I would do these junior guard lifeguard competitions and do paddling, and I'd do all right in them, but never train for them. So I think the surfing helped the paddling more than the paddling helped my surfing.
Right on. So what do you think outside of surfing gives you a nice kind of Autumn? Are there things that you do that are land-based that help your passion for surf and your wave riding?
I don't know. I don't really do specific things. I like just try to exercise, and recently I've been trying to stretch a lot more, which makes a big difference. I've noticed I used to never stretch before I surf, but now I'm like actually taking the time to stretch and stretch after, and I'm like, wow, I should have been always doing this. It's good. That's like, yeah, that's something new that I've been doing.
That's a great point. And for the listening audience, she hits upon something really spot on, because if you've got muscles that are in a too shortened state, they only have this much room to contract. But if you return it back to its normal resting length out here, well, there's so much more ability for that muscle to contract, give you more force production, more power. So if you're looking for some really solid power on your bottom turns, or you want to make that quick snap off the lip, or whatever the case may be, getting your body to respond and be more pliable is going to be the key. So you guys, you've been on, like, Sean, how long have you been with the WSL?
I had a question about stretching first.
Yeah, go for it.
I've always heard, I don't know if it's true, but I heard it's good to warm up your body before you go surf and get active, or I don't know. I just heard that, like, I guess Mick Spanning's trainer was saying that it's not the best to stretch before surfing. Would you say that's true or no?
Yeah, when he refers to stretch before surfing, you're typically talking about holding a pose, like a static stretch. And there's research showing that that can actually take away from athletic performance. It's a limited amount of research, but it kind of makes sense. You're really trying to shut down the muscle by holding it in a lengthened space. So the ability to excite it may take a little bit longer. So the way in which to warm up prior to paddling out would to be dynamic movements. Actually, to be honest, walking briskly for 10 or 15 minutes can be just enough for many people to really just get the circulation going, get the joints nice and viscous and moving, and get some warmth and heat into the muscles so they're more pliable. But then there's yoga that's been around for over 5,000 years. And if you were to maybe go for a brisk walk along the beach, and as you suit up, especially around here, of course, the neoprene is going to keep your body pretty warm, and you can perform like a gentle sun salutation right there on the sand. And I usually recommend that that's what people do prior to paddling out for a couple of purposes. Not only are you warming up your body, but you're giving yourself an opportunity to really check out the lineup and see where are you going to be sitting. So it serves a couple different purposes. Who's catching the most waves? What are the conditions out there? Where are the hazards in terms of the beginner surfers, and where are they and where aren't they? And it just gives you a nice opportunity to focus on what you're about to do at the same time warming up your body. So definitely before paddling out, I would do some dynamic movements. On this YouTube channel, you can click on a whole bunch of different exercises and cogwheel-like actions to really get the body open in different directions. Kind of, I guess it's reminiscent of Tai Chi and yoga combined. So those would be some good ways to do it. Perfect question. I love that.
Cool. Thanks.
So when you, here's actually, I want to change the question that I was going to pose to you. Of course, you are surfing in the WSL, you're traveling, but at the same time, you, I'm sure, realize that there's a window of athletic opportunity and performance that you have. How long you can keep that window open or how quickly it's going to shut depends on a lot of things. But regardless, there is going to be kind of this end. So have you looked past that in terms of your life path, Sean? Like, where do you see yourself as you start to go past this part of your life? Are you in school? Are you done with school? Do you have a career? Where are you going?
Yeah, well, it seems like these days, I guess, surfers are like having a longer lifespan. Like if you look at Kelly, he's like, I don't know, is he 50 years old?
Stop. No, he's not there.
Know.
He's almost there.
No, isn't he 50?
Did he just turn?
He's almost he's high 40s or something.
I think so, huh? I don't know.
Yeah, he's dancing no matter what.
Yeah, so
I'm sponsored by him, by the way, right there.
Yeah, I saw that.
But if you want to sponsor the show, Kelly, you just give me a call.
So yeah, there's guys like Kelly, that are having a long surf career. I mean, obviously he's one in a million, but it's cool to see. A lot of guys are like, late 30s that are still surfing really well on tour. There's still a couple of guys that are like in their 30s. But I graduated Cal Poly San Luis Obispo in 2015 in environmental management, and so I work for an environmental company. Doing a little bit of jobs here and there just to kind of like get some money to fund my surfing career at the moment. But yeah, just kind of trying to stay with the times, like with the computers and being able to stay in like the work field, I guess, a little bit, just to stay relevant. So when the time does come that my surfing career is over, at least I'll have a decent resume to try and find another gig of some sort.
Very encouraging to hear, because you hear about or you see some of the surfers that have made it in the contest section, and then they come back to Santa Cruz, and there's a lot, or just, I'll say a handful that didn't take that path and probably wish they have. Cal Poly, great school, by the way. Autumn, what about yourself? Where are your plans? Where's your trajectory taking you?
Well, right now I am focusing a lot on surfing, but I'm also in school full time. I did my first like full-time school semester. I just finished like 2 weeks ago at Cabrillo. I'm taking summer classes as well. And it's nice to be doing something else as well, because there's so much time in the days right now that I can fit everything in.
Nice. And is there any concentration that you're focused on right now with your studies, or is it more broad spectrum of getting all your fundamentals to transfer somewhere else?
I'm still like pretty much doing all general ed right now, but in the like long-term like future, I want to be like an elementary school teacher. So that's kind of what I'm starting to focus on.
Wow, that's cool. Hell, if this continues, you'll just go from online learning to online teaching. It's just a smooth transition, no problem.
Exactly.
And what about yourself? Where's your life? Are you going to take over the surfboard shaping so your dad can retire and travel with your mom, or?
I don't know. That's pretty hard. I shaped a board earlier this year and it was really bad.
So you gave it to your mother, or what did you do with it?
I tried to ride it and then I was too bummed on how it came out. But yeah, I like I've shaped a few boards, and like having them all come out and they're pretty bad. It's like even more respect to all the shapers, and like, especially my dad, who like doesn't use machines. He's all hand shapes. Yeah, it's pretty hard. So I don't know if I'm really going to be able to take over the business and do what he's done. But I've been lifeguarding, like I said, the last few years, and I really like that kind of field. Would be interested in getting more involved in kind of the first responder, just that kind of field. Maybe go to paramedic school, possibly get into like some firefighting. Kind of just I'm taking it day by day and year by year, month by month. Just don't want to rush into anything too fast, because I really am enjoying where I'm at now and getting to travel and see so many cool parts of the world and meet tons of cool people.
Well, this is totally the time in all your lives to do exactly that. I mean, minimal obligations, maximal opportunity. I would take that and run with it in a heartbeat. But just so you know, I'm actually the strength and conditioning consultant for the Central Fire Protection District as well as Santa Cruz City.
Rad.
And so I normally go over to the stations and implement programs for the firefighters that and the paid calls as well as the probies and volunteers. So this time we're just doing a lot of online kind of things, and until I get back to the station, it'll have to be that way. But fire science at Cabrillo is fantastic, and of course, many of those firefighters are multi-level skills with EMT, paramedic, and lifeguarding. So you're in some good company there, and it seems like probably a natural progression for many guys in the lifeguards industry or organization to do just that. So yeah, we need more. So that would be fantastic. So what I really want to do is thank Sean, because you gave me this idea. What I usually do at the end of each show is I do this little side segment and incorporate some kind of element of fitness, showing the viewers what it is they could be doing. So in this particular one, I'm actually going to do a little bit of a dynamic warm up prior to paddling out. So be sure to continue on to the end of the show, or if I get too boring, go ahead and fast forward it. But I want to ask just a couple more questions, and then we'll kind of close up the shop here. So when it comes to your surfing, there's a level of risk obviously involved with any activity, where in terms of injuries and so on. Are any of you dealing with, and not that you have to expose like what you're dealing with, and if there's an injury right now that may affect your contest standings or anything like that? I'm not kind of getting at that. What I'm trying to ask is, are there little areas of your body that if you were to come and see me, that you'd be like, yeah, I got this thing going on right now. It's not a big deal, but it's always getting at me. Like if you wanted to ask me a question in that regard, do you have any like that? Like, Autumn, when you're paddling out, or when you're popping up, or when you're doing something on the wave, is there an area that you're just going, wow, I'm just not getting down low enough, or I just can't seem to ...
Yeah, I'd say my lower back will tend to like hurt me, and I'll notice it if I'm going on like long walks or something. I'm like, wow, my lower back hurts a little bit. And I think that's from surfing. And I noticed like my hips as well will get super, super tight.
Yes. All right. Cool. That's great. So without knowing what your posture is doing, but understanding how we typically paddle prone on a board, is that we're pushing down gently with our knees and thighs, and we're lifting up with our torso. And so the muscles in the front of our hips have this tendency to shorten up to accomplish that. And at the same time, our spine's extending, so that lower back is also shortening. So two things you could try to pursue doing is, do you happen to have like a TRX or suspension trainer or anything like that? Mm-hmm. Anything? Okay. What about a yoga strap? Do you have a yoga strap or a belt or a sash or anything? How about two doorknobs? That's even better.
Yeah.
Open up a door and hold on to two doorknobs and put your feet right up against the open door. And then what you're going to do is just kind of hang back and tuck your tailbone down. And you're going to try and get your lower back to just lengthen out, and just kind of work that for a second. And then the other thing I might recommend you do is lay off the side of your mattress on your bed and hug one knee toward your chest, and let the other leg just fall down toward the floor. And then do that for about a minute, and then switch legs and do the same thing. So all you're doing is just giving those muscles that are chronically being asked to shorten with every surf session, just to get a little breath. and open up. And you may find that actually helps. You could do that before or after surf, and just, just shoot me an email. Let me know if that's actually, if I'm blowing smoke somewhere or if that's working. All right. All right. Sean, what about yourself? How's that neck doing, brother?
Yeah, it's a little hairy at the moment.
Keep
but
it.
no, the hips, actually, that sounded really nice. I feel like I know a lot of older surfers that have been surfing their whole life, and they always have hip problems. My neighbor actually just got hip surgery, both of his hips done. Adam Rapolgo, you know of him. I think he just got his hip done. I don't know if he's gotten both done.
Yeah.
I know he recently just got one done.
Yeah, he's doing better though. He's right beside me next door here, and we talk often. In fact, he came over and we did a little stuff together, and he just really wants to get back on the water. So boogie boarding and getting back on the board, but he's getting better and better. So that's good. And actually, you bring up a really brilliant point, and it kind of tags into what Autumn was asking too, or just saying that the hips are an area that we are constantly kind of locking up, and it affects our lower back. And when we're in our days that you guys are exploring in that era of your 20s, your bodies are fairly indestructible, and you can just trash them and they bounce back like they're a rubber ball. But the more pounding under the surface, what begins happening is the body begins really getting kind of angered in a way, getting inflamed or irritated or worn down the more you do these movements, and you're not going to probably feel it for many years to come. So there's really no incentive early on to do anything about something that you're not really feeling all that much. But I would definitely recommend doing a lot more hip opening exercises so that you do have some preventative kind of purpose and not having to get your joints replaced at age 40 or 45 or beyond. So definitely the yoga you guys are doing, or if you want to jump back into that Pilates class that kicked your ass, because I know there's probably a cute girl over there that's really wondering who that hairy chin guy was. That would probably be a good idea. But anyway, Ben, what about yourself? How's your body holding up with all this?
My body's not holding up very good, honestly. I had 2 ankle surgeries like a couple of years ago. Feel like my ankles always hurt. I've learned throughout like both those surgeries and all the rehab I did that like just preventative training and strengthening is like super important. But yeah, pretty much my ankles are my weak point. So I do everything I can to make them stronger, but
which is kind of amazing when you consider it, because the only part of your body that touches your board when you're riding a wave is your feet. And what's right on top of the feet are those ankles. So for you to be at the level that you're at with the ankles sounding the way that they are is pretty impressive. I mean, actually, you've got some awesome ankles as far as I'm concerned, because all the stuff they've had to endure between surgeries and injuries, and yet you're still surfing. I mean, you've got some pretty remarkable ankles. I would give them an award. However, actually, but I would give him some love too. Like, this is going to sound weird, and I'm not trying to hit on anybody here, but I got this thing about feet, because you got 26 bones with 33 joints that move in 3-dimensional space that touch that board, and they should move in just the right way to make you maneuver in just the right way. And if they're kind of gunked up and locked up, then that's going to affect not only your ankle, but your back and your hip. And it could be that Autumn's hips and back are tight because she stubbed her toe and it affected her feet and who knows what. So I would recommend not thinking that your rehab for those ankles is actually complete, because most likely it isn't, because you're still feeling stuff in your ankles. So one thing that could be really beneficial is, before you paddle out, stand in the soft sand in one bare foot, and while balancing on one foot, imagine that the other foot is going to reach out and touch all the hours on a clock. And this clock is pretty big. And the more you reach and the more you make that clock bigger and bigger, the more you're starting to tell the ankle, oh, this is what you need to do when the body's over here. Oh, now you have to do this when it's over here or back here, and so on. And you're actually starting to wake up the muscles and move the joints in the way that they were meant to. And I think the more you do that, I would love for you to do that as an experiment. The next time you paddle out, do about 2 rounds of clock reaches on each foot, and then tell me how your surf session was after that. I'd be really cool to know about that. But,
Yeah,
and
sweet.
truly, if ever you want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to kind of do a little consultation with those ankles, because that's a lot of what we do. Getting the body
Cool.
back.
Thanks.
I think a long time ago I wrote this book on how to get in shape for surfing, but it was actually when you guys were probably in diapers. So we won't even go. We'll move on. All right. So you guys, hey, thanks for spending the afternoon with me. I tried to coordinate it so the surf wasn't really happening at this time of day and the tide wasn't all that great. So you can go either, of course, you probably surfed this morning and now you're ready for the second session. So Sean Burns, Autumn Hayes, Ben Coffey, you guys have been great. I want to thank you all for coming on. If there's anything that will enhance your sponsorship dollars with O'Neill, you can shout out right now and let them know. All right. No, you're golden. All right. Right there.
Thanks, PK.
You got it. And next week on the RockFit Files, we are going to have, as great of a surfers as these three are, we're going to have who is ranked probably in one of the top best surfers of all time. That's Sean Thompson, world champion. Sean's going to join me next week, and we're going to talk about the programs that he's doing to help basically live the life you love and do the things you want to do. So for now, stay tuned for a little pre-surf warm-up video, and then we'll see you next week. Okay, so what are the best moves to do before you paddle out? Well, for one thing, the best move to do right now is to find a spot where you can check out the lineup, what the conditions are, where are the rip currents and so on, where are you going to paddle out, how are you going to enter and exit, get that strategy involved. But in terms of the physical body, how are we going to warm that up to get ready to catch some waves? So one thing we want to do is to be able to get our shoulders open. So simple movements would be just shoulder circles in either direction. I've got my palms face down, going forward at the top, and then I can flip them upside down and go backwards like so. I can also just feel what it's like to reach overhead and then back down. I might rotate my arms when I get to shoulder height. After several of those, I might just take my knuckles and place them against my temples here, bring the elbows all the way together and all the way back, making sure that my shoulders can hinge properly. If I can't get my elbows to touch, that's going to tell me right there that I've got some work to do. So getting those shoulders to be really mobile, pliable, flexible, whatever you want to call it, just to get that range of motion already established before you start dipping your hand in the water and pulling through. And when it comes to pop-ups and getting up on the board, you want to make sure that the hips are open. So getting yourself into a lunge position and getting that back leg to really extend through the knee is critical. And as you get that leg to extend, you're just going to glide a little bit forward. If you should be seeing or feeling, at least experiencing some length and some opening in the front of this hip. What often is the case is that we tilt the pelvis forward, and that allows us to go way far forward without feeling anything. So try to keep that pelvis level, almost like tucking the tailbone slightly down or lifting the belly button up, and then gliding forward with that action. One other way that I'll reduce the intensity of opening this up is by bending into that back knee. I can go very far forward without feeling anything here. But as soon as I push into the pad of my pinky toe or the outside portion of the front of my foot, that encourages that knee to extend, extends here and opens up. Now, while I'm in this position, looking out at the lineup, I might just take one arm up and over to the side, try and open up the side of the body this way while getting some length in the hips. I could also take the other arm and reach backwards so I get a little bit of rotation of my rib cage away from my hips. Then I'm just going to switch and do the same thing to the other side. Get myself in that nice stride position, encourage that back knee to stay straight by pushing into the pad of the outside portion of the front of my foot, get my pelvis to maintain a nice level position, take that arm up as I glide forward and reach up and slightly over, and I might even take that hand and drive on back. Simple enough. If you're familiar with the sun salutations, 7 typical poses in a combination of movements known as the sun salutation, that would be good too. But these are simple ones to do to wake up the shoulders, open up the hips, open up the midsection to get ready for your ride. Hope you have a good time, and we'll see you out on the waves.